Good morning and happy Saturday, Facebook friends. Today is April 4th. For those of you that have forgotten what day it is, April 4th is a very special day because April 4th is the day that the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. As you know, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King was a great advocate for a better world, for civil rights, and for the poor, and for making this world a better place for everybody. So when we think about him, we can think about what kind of mountaintop we would like to be working towards, what kind of world we would like to be living in, and how that world is very intentionally designed that we would be able to include people who don't look like us or act like us or think like us and treat them with respect and dignity and love. So today, I'd like to talk a little bit about one of the things that's common in pandemics and one action item that we can do to help with that. So you may or may not know this, but I have been reading up on pandemics, and one of the common things that happens during a pandemic is xenophobia, which is fear of foreigners. We tend to kind of have really strong feelings about people who we think might be able to be blamed for the plague of the moment, the things that we're having to go through. We want to kind of tag it on somebody. And so the xenophobia of the moment is currently directed toward Asians and Asian Americans and Asians around the world. That we see somebody who looks Asian and we automatically go to this very dark place. And so even though they didn't cause this, it was a bug that was in a bat or something, and it happened to be in that corner of the world, to take it out on all Asians is not good, doesn't make things well with our soul. It's not building a better world. It's not doing any of those things. But it is very common in pandemics to have xenophobia. So during the SARS epidemic, we had xenophobia towards the Chinese people. But during all the epidemics and pandemics in the world, this is common. For example, back during the bubonic plague, I was reading that there was a group in Italy who had anti-Semitic thoughts, where they thought Jews caused it, and they were going into Jewish homes and doing these things. And so it's really common to have xenophobia, but it's not helpful. And it's not when we're living into our best self to do that. And Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, remembering him today, helps us to really reframe and to rethink and to vision a better world and to choose not to treat specific sections of our society as less than or as an anathema to us. We really, really need to live into these higher goals and higher purposes. And so in order to do that, I have a couple of suggestions for you today. Most of us have friends that are from different ethnic backgrounds and maybe even different parts of the world. And so if you're concerned about how the world is handling this, one of the things that you can do to be proactive to building a better world, that's a simple thing, is to, with intention, call a friend of yours today who is not of your same ethnic group, who doesn't look like you, who may not be originally from the same part of the world that you are, and just see how they're doing. Don't tell them something like, well, today is the day that Martin Luther King was assassinated, so I thought I would call you. Leave that part out. That can be the impetus for this particular moment, but really what you need to do is just pick up the phone. Think of 2 or 3 people that you could call, because they may not all be available. Some of them may be on Zoom meetings. Some of them may be doing stuff in their yard. But think of 2 or 3 people that you know that are either ethnically different than you or from a different area in the world, and try to connect and just say, hey, how are you doing? Is it well with you? How have you been? I love you. And don't assume that they're having the same experience that you are, because if they're from a different area of the world or they're different ethnicity, they probably aren't for different reasons. So take the opportunity to learn and to grow in your understanding of a different person's culture and a different person's perspective. When Martin Luther King was saying, people would come, the little black boys, the little black girls, the little white boys, the little white girls would all be sitting and playing together. We have the option to do that every single day, and not just black and white, but all the shades in between. And so I encourage you today to take a moment in honor of the life and the death of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. to think about how you might vision a better world, live into it by just reaching out and saying that you care to someone of a different culture group than yours. Listen well, be appreciative of their journey and their willingness to share time with you on yours. And then take that, and when we're through all this, or as we get through all this, start making notes on how you might be able to advocate and love and care for persons in that group in ways that maybe you didn't before. Maybe there's ways to do that in your community. Maybe there's ways to advocate for it in your country or in the world. But the more that we are intentional about being with people who look or act different than we are in loving and kind ways, the better everything will be in the world now and going on into the future. So, remember Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King? Say no to xenophobia. Say yes to loving everybody no matter what their skin color, background, and do it all in a space of faith and hope and love. And I'll talk to you later. But remember, tomorrow is Sunday, and it's Palm Sunday, and we're really, really hoping that you'll join us. So we'll be online at 9:30. We'll go live 9:30, but I think we'll have a little screen up there if you want to join on earlier than that, as early as about 9 a.m. So we hope to have you share that experience with us, and God bless all of you as you continue to stay positive and stay well during this time of pandemic. God bless. Bye-bye.